The future is here, or at least some potential part of it in the form of the HTC Vive. Released in April of 2016 through cooperation between HTC and Valve Corporation, the Vive is an $800 VR headset for the PC that seeks to create a virtual world both around your eyeballs and inside of your room. Room scale is the buzzword you'll hear a lot with this thing, where the idea is that you can not only play games sitting down with a traditional mouse, keyboard, gamepad, joystick, or steering wheel, but you can also use the provided motion controllers and 360-degree tracking sensors to physically walk around and interact with games more directly. And I've got to say, after using this thing for a few weeks, when this is working at its best and games play to the Vive's strengths rather than fights its weaknesses, this is the single best VR experience I've had to date. That said, there are a number of caveats, and we'll get to those momentarily. First up, let's take a look at the box it comes in, which is unnecessarily and amusingly huge. Also, it's worth noting that I got this unit free of charge, not from the manufacturer or any PR person, but from a generous viewer on YouTube. So thank you, Kenneth, you are patently awesome. But yeah, the inside of the box is flush with goodies, coming with everything you need and even a few things you may not. One of the items it doesn't come with is a DisplayPort cable, which for me was a problem since I only have one HDMI port on my GTX 980 Ti graphics card, and seeing as you're going to want to plug in your monitor alongside the Vive, this is something you may have to keep in mind. Another thing to consider is the design of the headset itself, which may or may not work for your vision situation. I normally wear glasses because I can't freaking see a thing further than a foot away, and go figure, my glasses are too wide to fit inside the headset. I've had friends with narrower frames wear theirs with the headset just fine, but no such luck for me. It's also got an external knob for adjusting the distance between your pupils, or IPD, which is nice to have in place of finicky software. The Velcro headset straps make it comfortable to adjust to your head size, and if you don't like them, you can always remove them and use a third-party set. Same for a lot of things on the headset. It's rather modular, so you can swap out parts and customize it to your liking quite easily. Setting up the whole thing is incredibly easy too, except when it's not. For one thing, there are these two base station cubes, or lighthouses, that will need to be plugged into the wall for power and placed above you in opposing corners of your room. You can do this any way you please, for instance using tripods, but due to space and vibration concerns I used the included mounting hardware to drill them into my wall. Then there's the downloadable setup program, which is friendly enough on its own. But the actual drivers and software were another story. For some dumb reason, I kept getting error 301, which is as common as it is utterly useless. It tells you basically nothing except that the software crapped its pants, and it took me an hour and a half to figure out why. It could mean any dozens of things, and, well, you see the headset plugs into this little box, and then passes through to your computer in a wall outlet. It recommends that you plug it into a USB 2.0 port and not 3.0, but I only have 3.0, so no luck there. Turns out it was my Blue Snowball USB microphone causing a conflict, and as soon as I unplugged that, everything was fine. After this, I was able to map out my office for room scale use, which has an open space of about 7 by 7.5 feet, and while it will work in a slightly smaller room since many games have implemented teleporting around instead of just walking, this is not ideal, so the closer you can get to the maximum 5 square meters, the better. Once you get the software installed through Steam, you can use Steam VR to start using the Vive. You'll start in this empty home space, which I have configured to look like the holodeck from Star Trek TNG because fandom is a powerful drug. From here, you can open up a virtual window to navigate Steam VR, and a great place to start is the included tutorial. This takes place in an Aperture Science lab, because Valve, and you're walked through the basics of how to use the system. It's friendly, humorous, and effective, just a really well-made little introduction to VR. After this, it's all up to you, and the wild west of virtual reality in 2016 is yours for the taking. You can use your computer as a normal desktop with a giant virtual screen, install independent VR apps outside of Steam, or just stay inside of Steam VR to dive into the world of VR gaming. And for the most part, that means a lot of tech demos, early access programs, and physics sandboxes. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with these, it's just that for $800 you might expect a bit more. In fact, some of the very best experiences are the ones that currently come packed in with the Vive, like The Lab by Valve, Job Simulator 2050 Archives, fantastic contraption, and Google's Tilt Brush. And as awesome as these experiences are, they're the exact same things I played a year ago in Seattle during a meeting with Valve. After nearly a year, I'd hoped for some more substantial stuff to play, and I just haven't found much yet. Now don't get me wrong, what's here can be positively mind-blowing, provides lots of silly fun, and its glimpse into the future feels like straight-up science fiction. This is what I felt VR should have been back in the 90s, when we were all promised shiny immersive worlds and virtual online shopping, and all we got was a headache and motion sickness. But the Vive runs at 2160 by 1200 resolution with half for each eye at 90 Hz with low persistence, and combining this with all its advanced motion sensors and tracking stuff is light years ahead of the old tech. I haven't felt any notable eye fatigue or motion sickness in room scale, and other than getting disgustingly sweaty and the strap digging into my scalp a bit on extended use, it was quite comfortable for hours at a time. And much to my surprise, the chunky cord flowing out the back of my head didn't trip me up either. It was just me, inside of a bunch of virtual worlds, having some of the best fun I've had in years. Until you try it, the level of presence you'll feel here is hard to grasp. It may utilize motion controls that bring to mind a little bit of the Wii or the Move or the Kinect, but the actual experience being in 3D, surrounding you with full freedom of movement inside a room, is just not even on the same planet in terms of similarity. Yes, this is still a gimmick, but it's a very different gimmick and a lot more involved. The Vive nails that feeling of stepping into another existence for a bit, and once that suspension of disbelief kicks in and you've got a well-made game on your hands, traditional gaming almost seems primitive. So is the HTC Vive worth buying? Absolutely, even at $800, requiring a beefy PC, and with its iffy early adopter issues and shallow games, I leave the experience feeling concerned yet really optimistic. The future may not be here, but it's getting awfully close. What we have already, though, just fills me with that childlike wonder that you get when you're 8 years old, Christmas morning, opening presents, anything seems possible. I haven't felt that in a long time. There's just nothing else like it on the market. And I'm including the Oculus Rift in that statement because its own rather limited implementation of room scale just doesn't have the same kind of effort being put into it that the Vive offers out of the box. And there's none of that walled garden or headset exclusive crap Oculus is pulling right now either, so I find myself agreeing with the more open philosophy of Valve and the Vive and the other V words. It also just makes a massive difference being able to walk around and interact more naturally within VR, because it not only helps eliminate motion sickness, but it allows for genres and interactive possibilities that haven't fully existed until now. So if you're digging what you're seeing, just know that it delivers one unforgettable ride, and I highly recommend it. And if you enjoyed my video on the Vive here, perhaps you'd like to see a more extended look at it, just me rambling about it for almost an hour. There's one of those videos, and there's a look at the Samsung Gear VR, which is a heck of a lot cheaper, a really great introduction to virtual reality. Not nearly as involved, but if you've got a phone that supports it, it's a really cool experience as well. And as always, thank you very much for watching.